Sumit, thank you for accepting our invite and welcome to our podcast.
Kishan, thanks for inviting me for this podcast. I'm very obliged, very happy about it to be here, and let's see how we get along.
Thank you so much. But before we get started, I know that you, Sumit, were looking to become a sport person. Is that correct?
That's correct, and I like to always call myself as an accidental engineer. I don't think I planned for being an engineer, but like people say, sometimes what you plan for yourself, something else is better than for you. I strongly believe I would have been a very bad sport person, but I think I'm doing well in being an engineer. And honestly, it's a funny story if you want to hear it out. It's a funny story how actually I landed my first job. It was like a very unplanned one. So in fact, the interview was not even for me. It was for my brother, and somehow he took a decision, or he had an intuition to send me for an interview. And I've been in my youth and ignorant, basically didn't prepare for it, didn't know about the company and everything. Went there. We call it confidence right now, but honestly, I was ignorant that time. But then somehow it went well. Interviewer was throwing me at questions. I was answering them. Some were right, some were creative. Uh, but I think and at the end, like I got the job. That's the thing. I- Now, if I think, people say I was too confident at that time, but I think it was just showing honestly that I don't know all the answers, but I am ready to give it a try. Uh, I think that's what landed my job, and I think that is has been always my core of everything. You don't need to know everything, but you should not be scared about unknown, basically.
To go where men never stepped,
Yes,
like in
exactly.
Star Trek.
Oh yeah, and again, I follow the superheroes movie, all the science fictions. I think those have, made a character out of me, basically.
Yeah. So, had some inspiration, so to say, in order to uh, not being scared and just act.
Exactly, all those. Uh, yeah, coming back to again the reference for the movies, but all those underdog movies where underdog
Mm.
is the one who comes out to be champion. Believe me, I always see myself as underdog everywhere, and would like to come overcome that challenge every time.
Yeah. Basically, yeah, this is like there are a lot of challenges in an engineering job. So um, I would say that's a good, correct mindset to have in order to get successful. Before you went to this interview that you mentioned, your first the interview at your first engineering job. What was the why and how did it go?
I mean, honestly, for me, I had the curiosity. I thought I could do it. Uh, but it was never the intention. No, I want to do it. It's just like, yes, I want to start. Obviously, I was like fresh out from the university, and obviously you want to earn money, right? And I knew I won't be bad at it. I would be better than people, but it was never the intended career path for me. Honestly, I never intended to go into this career path until when I do the first job and something kicked me, or something clicked, and I said, yes, I can do this thing, basically.
Mhm.
And that's where it was like, yes, this is my career path going forward.
Okay, yeah. How it went afterwards? Like after getting your first job, like how did your journey go from that point?
So initially, it was very monotonous. The whole idea I had in my mind was, the more line of codes I write, the better I am. That was the whole motto for a few years, honestly, for the couple of years. It's like, oh, this guy is like, it was the competition. he's writing 100 lines of code, I need to like 200 lines of code. The whole idea was the more code you write, the more visible, or more good you are at your job. That was the whole idea. And I and that's what's going on. I mean, like, I was pretty happy. I was like writing codes, like we say, first few thousand hours of your career for as a engineer is very important, because what you write, you learn, and all the stuff. So the whole purpose was learn, and like, learn coding, write the code, learn coding, write the code, let it go to the production, and that's it. The whole target was to let it go to the production, and you are good, you are better, you're awesome. And that's how it was going on. And but then after few years, that thought process changed, because you would feel, I mean, you're not you like, you would understand after few couple of years and into engineering and just coding, it's just not about coding. Coding is very small part of it. It's actually about problem solving the problems, basically. And I mean, people, and I think I was lucky enough that I had a mentor who gave me that mindset very early in my career, that code is just not everything. It's a part of bigger picture. So it's like he made me understand the bigger picture. So bigger picture is not coding, or not coding bug free, or not, it's just not coding. It's all about solving a problem. And there are different ways to solve a problem. You can take too long to solve a problem with a perfect code, and not putting it to production, just writing the code, trying to solve all 100% scenarios, which may or may not exist, but you want to take care of all the possibility. Or you start small and then build upon that. And I think the kind of mentors I had, and with my mindset, the latter one suits me better. So I always have the mindset: start delivering small, then build upon it. You know, both the approaches take more like same time, or the latter one might take less time. But at the end, the latter approach, where you're building small and then working on it, always comes out victorious, because chances of making mistakes there are, for the end product, are very less, because you have been through iterations, a lot of iterations, you've got through a lot of feedbacks, and people can see what you have, the delivery or the problem that you're solving earlier than the traditional way of just getting everything done and then showing. So I mean, that's where everything changed, when I start understanding that it's about solving a problem, and that the approach that you take to solve the problem. I think that was the very nice transition phase for me.
Wow, wow. Okay, that's amazing, and I can see your point there. All I can tell, like my only comment, there is a statement that's calling the code a liability. So no matter how perfect, so to say, the code will be eventually in production, it has to like when you're writing the software, it has to stick to some guidelines in order to keep keep it maintainable as possible. But eventually, the working code, like to that will solve a problem, is the topmost priority.
Agreed. So again, what I'm trying to say is, do not write. Obviously there has to be guidelines how you make create the code, and then you have the process to take it to production. Everything agreed. But what I'm trying to say is, instead of getting stuck in a mindset where you're trying to cover all 100% scenarios, it's better to get the code into an environment where people can use it, because you'll find the scenarios that you are thinking about what are virtual and do not exist, or they exist, right? But cover most of the scenario, which is like all the positive scenarios, and let people take care of the negative scenarios, and let them come back, give the feedback. It has to be a solid good product, and a maintainable product is the product which. And if you talk about if you were talk about the code, the deliveries, solid principles, we talk about the solid principles. Yes, the why they exist is because it says your code has to be good enough that it can be pluggable from anywhere. It should adapt. And that's the only reason is because today's world, it's so fast that you cannot take an year to build up something. People expect very quickly something. I don't know, it's I don't know it's right or not, but they expect something to see in a month time, or which was usually a year. Like if you talk about like before 10 years, when I started something, or people would expect to see something after certain period of time. But right now people expect something quick, very quick. And and they want to give feedback, regular feedback, which I agree, regular feedback and all that stuff is right. So instead of trying to make a perfect solution, and again, I strongly believe perfection is a myth. There's not perfection. The term perfection is a relative term, basically. For me, the definition of perfection would be something else, and for you, the definition for perfection would be something else. I mean, if you ask different people what is perfection for you from the software point of view, they'll give you different answers. So instead of getting and trying to achieve a perfection on your own way, get the code out or get into the system, into production, a bug-free system. I'm not saying it should be completed with bug, but let it out as quickly as you can and get the feedback of end customers or your client, whoever it is, as soon as you can. And that's why I think all these things that we talk about, agile approach, that is the good approach, basically.
Yeah. Yeah, something struck me right now. So it has to be perfect from the user standpoint.
Yes, it has to be perfect from user and and user standpoint is not the features that they're getting, it's about when they're getting it, it's speed. So delivery nowadays, it's not about just getting everything into the production and the features what the customer is asking. It's more about now how the speed at which it is getting to the production, and the features it's that speed is tied up with. I mean, and honestly, uh, the big part of me right now is uh, handling that risk mitigation. I am at that certain point where I'm saying what can go to production, what is I with the speed that we want to achieve, what is the technical that I'm okay with, and what is the technical that I'm not okay with. So that's, people think technical debt is a back down, and they should not be technical debt, but there will always be technical debt. I mean, something that is very in example, like you know I don't know if you've seen, there was one time where Microsoft had introduced Silverlight, and it in this it is a way back thing. It's not recent. It's like way back thing.
No, I
So
don't necessarily remember it, but what was it
so
about?
it was again where you could have like nice animations on the desktop applications, and that's how current technology was built up on. So Silverlight was the main thing, first thing, and then they built, and Silverlight retired, like it retired in like 3-4 years. But when it was there, it was a huge success for them, and everybody was talking about it, doing it, and that's my point. Is like technology which is in current is good, might not be good after some time. So there's always a technical that you just need to make sure that the technical that you're leaving on the table is something you are happy with, customers are happy with, that is, it does not have any major impact or any impact, basically. So it's like, I'm okay with leaving out that, instead of my system is taking 3 seconds to deliver something, it should have taken 2 seconds or like 1.5 seconds. I know that's a performance thing, but right now for this phase, is this performance okay or not? So these are that's the technical that I'm talking about. It's not like leave a bug that user cannot log into system. No, that's
Yeah,
not technical that.
yeah. Let's say if scaling to a different number of users, and it will have an impact, like from 2 seconds, it will go to database timeout, which actually
Exactly.
it happened to me once. But then you need to handle that problem, uh, like and there comes the different, like another layer of engineering in order to solve the problem, as you mentioned, that appears at hand.
Yes, exactly. Solve the problem that actually exists. Do not try to solve a problem that is in your mind and it's a virtual problem and you think it might occur. As soon as you think it might occur, the problem would actually be non-realistic anymore. I need a problem that would occur or actually is happening. That's it.
Yeah, someone will argue that there is Murphy's law. So if there is a chance that something will go wrong, it will eventually go wrong. But yeah,
Sorry, I mean, I think I'm always prepared for something to go wrong. I always think that something will go wrong. So always be prepared for that, that if something goes wrong. But you cannot hope for something to go wrong. That's the whole point. You know, the term, prepare for the worst, but hope for the best.
hope for the best. Yeah, yeah, that's
That's my motto.
that's basically the opposite of the Murphy's law, like some sort of
Yep.
to be prepared, because even though it's not so obvious, there is this thin difference between being ready for something to go wrong and like always to wait for it. Like it is like more like psychological, but still the software engineering is about being human and organizing information for humans as well.
Hmm.
The machines are smart enough to execute all that human is writing, but and now it's also writing by itself, but still the end product is made by human for human. It should keep that mindset. That's a really great point, and I totally agree with you on that. Even though I would like to go a little back on this transition that you mentioned when you switched this mindset to focus on the problem at hand and solve it instead of writing the code. And you mentioned that you had your mentor that guided you to achieve this mindset. Could you share like a little bit more how did this impact it, and how would you recommend this to other engineers if they feel like they're going nowhere?
Okay. So I think uh, it's very important nowadays. You know, especially with different tools coming in into the picture, not to have a mindset of I'm supposed, what I'm what I'm told to do. That is the only scope. That's it. I mean, you need to have a have a better understanding of what you are developing. Have a, I would say, a wider vision than the narrow vision. You know, understand why we are doing it. I think for me, the why is the most important thing, uh, and that's what my mentor kind of wanted me to understand, is the why of the things. I mean, if once you understand why we are doing this, you, or just start asking this question. I mean, that's the advice for all the new engineers. Start asking this question why, and they would be by default follow-up questions that you would see that you were not thinking of before, and you'll start asking those questions, and then you'll understand what exactly is required. Because when you are set to something, to develop something, right, it's there are always functional and non-functional requirements, or there's always some written requirements or some expected requirements, always. Okay, nobody talks about expected requirements, always, because whoever are writing those requirements, so and smaller companies not even require that write the requirement, they just say we want this. Okay, but what they
Usually,
do,
product managers should.
so product managers, I mean, I'm not saying about anything but about them, but it's like, you know, depending upon how much time they have, they might write a detailed requirement, or they might not write a detailed requirement, and they
Yeah, yeah.
let the developers interpret the requirements, which is a very dangerous thing, honestly. Uh, but because developers again start assuming something and they don't ask these questions. For me, is ask whatever the curiosity you have, ask it. I mean, you want to know why, how, ask it. The more you ask, the more questions you ask, the more clarity you would get about the task, and you would kind of deliver something much better than when you are thinking about just about the code. So when you start thinking about from the wider vision, wider perspective, that why do we need this? Is somebody asking me to build this thing? What is the requirement, actual requirement? What is the need of the customer that they want to build this thing? That's it. I mean, those questions would lead to certain answers or certain, you know, requirements that, I mean, nobody would have thought of. And you would build up a better feature set. Irrespective of the code, you would build up the better feature set that you if you just thought about the code only. Because if you just thought about the code, you're just thinking, I have this piece of thing to deliver. How can I deliver it best way? But when you start understanding why we are doing this, what is the actual requirement to I know all the engineers would not have a chance to actually interact with the customer, but at least they can interact with whoever is giving that requirement. Answering all these questions would give you a better view of the requirement, and you'll write better code, honestly.
Totally. Basically, it gives you a much wider vision on what's going on, and
Exactly.
basically, yeah, and having knowledge of that makes you more available for that specific organization or for, I would say, the industry or the niche that. Because you can transpose those knowledge regarding the questions. I can tell from my experience that at some point I was like really uncomfortable to
Hmm.
ask too many questions, especially when I was thinking that those questions were dumb.
That's what I'm saying. Doesn't matter, honestly. Doesn't matter. Honestly, it took me. That is one of the things that is like I always not regret, but always think I could have done better going back. When I started my career, low on confidence, fresher. I mean, you are still just stepping into the world. You have no idea, and it took me like I don't know, it took me a few years to start asking dumb questions because you need to get that confidence first that whatever I'm saying in my mind it requires it's right. You know, and now I realize how stupid I was. Honestly, I should have asked those questions earlier. My career path would have been quite different. I would have accelerated quite quickly in my career if I had start asking questions. And and honestly, people love when they are people. I mean, if I'm a manager, right? Let's say, and if managers love when people ask question, they take in. It gives out that you're taking interest in it. It doesn't matter how stupid question that might sound. Ask. If you ask it, see, if you don't ask it, you would never have that answer what you wanted. But if you ask it, but you might get an answer. People would say, "We'll explain you later on," but there is a there is a possibility that you would get an answer what you want, and there is a possibility that managers would think that we. And if you ask a question, certain question, a manager also has not thought of it, you gain points for that. You like, yes, he's asking, he
Exactly.
has a mindset, so always ask questions.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I meant. So basically, it's a quite a big shift on in career, as you mentioned. But I think that's a matter of experience, and that's how you grow eventually to realize that even asking dumb questions could be beneficial.
Exactly, I totally agree. I mean, it takes a lot of practices, confidence to basically ask questions, especially one to one you can still ask question, but when in a group asking a question takes a lot of courage to ask that question
At first, at least.
at first, at least. So but I totally agree. I totally agree that it's difficult, but I would also suggest the earlier you start doing it, the you'll feel you'll feel the more growth you are getting.
I agree. I agree. Yeah. That's what happened with with my career as well. I wish as well it would happen earlier, but I also always think on the flip side that uh, it's a matter of growth, and it happened at the point when it needed to be happen, and that's fine. That's fine.
Agreed.
All I need to know is that from this time on, I need to use that, and it will benefit more to have a better understanding. It will make my job easier, actually.
Yep, agreed.
Yeah, yeah, totally. Um, Speaking of which, in terms of technical skills, do you think that engineers nowadays are able to stay technically relevant while taking more responsibilities?
Uh, I think the right now the focus, and I mean it's a very controversial topic honestly, but I would say anyways. But I think not now what has happened with all this uh, AI coming to the picture, right? People have lost focus on system thinking. It's like they're too much reliant on AI, and they are like, AI should do it. I mean, like always, you would always find very good engineers or bad engineers. They would always be there. Okay. I think people have got, they've started being reliant on AI too much. AI is good. I mean, I used AI. It's not that I don't use AI, but I think AI should be used as an assistance rather than replacement of thinking. They should not blindly follow it. They should get help from it, and that's where engineers need to understand. I don't, I don't, I don't think, and it's just because everybody's, AI is a new buzzword, and everybody's like, get wants to get connected with the AI, and that is pretty normal human behavior. When you see you in the tech world, and even not even tech world, I mean, excuse me, even if you see any businesses right now, right? So, uh, if you say to them, we do something in the AI, they'll be much more interested in you rather than when you say we don't do much AI. So it's like AI has become a buzzword. Everyone wants to get connected to it, and without understanding how AI could be useful to them. So I mean, I've seen resumes of fresh graduates or even experienced people, typically written by AI. They don't even see what the AI has written a resume for them. At least I would expect you to proofread it, that what has been written is correct or not about you. And when you interview them, it's like, yeah, they have no clue about what has been written. So that's what I mean. But on the flip side, there are a lot more engineers are coming out where they have they they have a concept of a vision. They 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 are with, and they have used AI properly, or they have done the research properly with the help of AI, and they are more confident. They have more information. They're asking more right questions. So it's the same world, honestly. It's just like sh- right now the gap between good and bad has increased, has so much now, is a differences between so much that either you will get fully reliable people on the AI who cannot do anything by themselves, or you would have somebody who has used the AI in the right way, and they use the AI as an assistance rather than just replacing their thinking. I say, do not replace your thinking. Use AI as assistance, and you're good. Use AI to learn rather than using AI to tell you what to learn.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I really liked your analogy with this increasing gap between good and bad engineers. Like it's not so visible up front because of the noise eventually that AI
Hmm.
may create, and the risk is like that. a good amount of engineers who claim themselves experts will take the output
If
as
so,
granted. Yeah,
yes.
but still, the effort to identify, I think, increases, and I think that's a risk. Don't you think?
Agreed. And see, and that again is caused due to, I would say, because people are relying on what the AI is saying is right. I mean, like you said, they don't proofread it. They don't see. They don't identify. Are there any risk? I mean, example, if the AI had some bugs, it could just delete their whole file system. I mean, this has happened. I'm not sure if you followed with. I mean, I was seeing on the Reddit where somebody was using. I don't want to name the tool. They won't be happy about me, but they were using an AI coding assistant. And there was a bug on, and it was suggesting a command to run. They didn't verify that command, and it kind of deleted everything from their laptop. Just not the the code, just everything. The whole system was like formatted, nothing.
Erased. Yeah,
So it was like, that's what I'm talking about. See what you're running, understand what you're running. I mean, especially it becomes very critical. So, yes, if you would have written a code had the bug, that's fine. But when you're running these such commands, it becomes very, very critical uh, to understand what you're running, especially when you're running as an admin. You can't
yeah,
just go blindly doing it. And that is what I'm saying. Then when people rely too much, they stop thinking. I don't want AI to replace the thought process. I want them to replace the task. I want to say, I want to achieve this. This is how I want to achieve. Go and write the code for me and I'll verify it and everything. But I don't want AI to tell me how you should build. I mean, you can suggest, but I don't want him to just blindly and say, this is how I want to build.
that is actually amazing. Like to not replacing the thought process, but just uh, taking the task part. Like that's huge, as I would say. So yeah, that's I believe that was the purpose of
Mhm.
it, like long
Exactly.
before when it was created, but it kind of went sideways
See,
nowadays,
because, see, I don't know.
especially for
Go on,
sorry,
sorry.
especially among the uh, people who are trying to get into engineering, and they are taking all the code that the AI might spit out as a working one, and or as a bug free one.
Exactly. I mean, I would say that is the biggest problem, that people, oh, I would love to have AI, right? That's fine. AI is part of my whole process. I don't want to spend hours and hours and hours of doing some manual stuff where I can know that can be done by AI quickly. Fine. And that's where, I think the whole debate is all about. It's Do you think AI can replace engineers? No, I don't think AI can replace engineers, but I do think it can replace it would replace tasks that engineers use. So if I was doing, let's say, task ABC, I don't see engineers doing task ABC anymore. I see them defining ABC properly, controlling that thought process. And that's why I said, now for me, the vision about what you're creating, the thought process that you're creating, is the most important thing in the engineering. I mean, coding, yes, a part of it, because coding would give you that thought process. But it's all about, at the end, is, do you have that thought process? Do you have that vision? Do you have that clarity what we want to build? And then you can tell the AI that this is what I want to build. Do you know the coding enough that you can verify that the code is right? So it's more about now verification in place. You know, is it, obviously then there are tools to verify also, but it's more about, can you verify properly with yourself? And that's how you do the delivery, basically. I mean, don't don't let AI think for you. Let, only let AI to do task for you, how you define it. And If you are doing it, that's fine, and it's the same. Any and see, I think this fear is I would say is not valid, but it's expected. Uh, when the internet was there, right? They were the same conversations. When Google actually came into the picture, everybody was like, Google is the Google will destroy everything and it will replace books. All the information is now available readily. No, but it has changed the way changed the way people search for it. Before Google, people used to go into the libraries, search in the book, spend hours, and then find something, then come back and do it. Now that hours or days of work was reduced by Google to few hours, like you can go to Google. Or initially, if you've used Google for so long, you would know. Initially, there was like the way you used to search things would give you better results. Then it was like how you search it that became very important. So that was the thought process. Then Google even changed that, and then anybody could go and search something and they will find it. And now it's AI. The Chat GPT's Cloud and Gemini, they are giving you more contextual information. But it's up to you how you use that information. It it's not like they have said something that is correct. You need to evaluate that. Human in the loop cannot go away ever. What people need to realize is, don't be afraid of it. I would say embrace it, but do not follow it blindly.
Yeah.
Think before you act. Use AI to do the boring tasks, honestly. There are a lot of boring tasks in human life. Let the AI do it. Do what excites you with the help of AI, and that's it.
Eventually, it got better to find the books actually actually, and it suggested right away. Every time I need a book, I will just go to a please list me a list of books on topic at
Yeah,
hand,
exactly.
and it will actually get this first section with the Google recommendation, books recommendation, and then the links to the Amazon and other publication sites.
Exactly. And that's how it is. Like, you did not ask Google, I'm this guy, think of a topic I would be interested in. That is where my problem is. Like, if you say, I like to know things on this topic, and it suggested, that's your assistance. You use it as assistance rather than saying, oh, tell me what should I read? Tell me what should I read next? What topic I should cover? That is bad, because then you're letting a system to derive your personality, which is wrong.
Yeah, yeah. It should be perceived as a tool in the first place,
Yes.
but the illusion of intelligence, it could be like this could be misguiding for specific people. So yeah. Okay, thank you for sharing your perspective on that topic. We are getting to the end of our interview, and but before that, I would like to have a quick round of quick questions, if that's
Hmm.
okay with you.
Yep, sure.
The first thing I would like to ask is, can you tell like one of the biggest horror stories from your career?
That's a tough one, honestly. I have many.
The one you are confident you can tell.
I think for me, the biggest horror story. I mean, is it something related? Do you want something to relate it about uh, engineering, or could be anything?
Could be anything. Could be engineering. Yeah, sure. Could be any other topic.
I mean, the engineering one, I think, was when it was very early in my career, where there were multiple people working on uh, same thing, same feature set, and and we were very excited. I think it was my first assignment on that company, and we were very excited. And we were committing the code very quickly and we missed it. And there was one golden rule in our company where, like, on the source control, you never break a build. And they had, the code should compile always on the source control. And they had a lot of automation and everything over there. Uh, and they had, I think before that happened, they had like a long run of 5 years where code was never broken. It all used to always compile and all the unit tests used to pass. Then I came along and
What
I,
happened?
I pushed a code and it broke the build. And believe me, in 5 minutes, everybody was on my desk. And I think it was around 30, 40 people on my desk with all the big people on around my desk. And I was like, I understand. I was just 2 months into the job, and
Mm,
I was, I was scared like anything. I was like, damn it, I've lost my job because that was the big thing. And then, and this was also a biggest lessons for my life because then my mentor came in. He was so calm, solved that thing in like 5 minutes or 10 minutes, and I was actually shaking at that time. And he said, it's okay to make mistakes till the time you can take care of those mistakes before having a major impact. You can make mistakes, but take responsibilities that you have made a mistake, accept that, and solve that as quickly as you can.
that's
That
good.
is, and that was the biggest lesson and biggest mistake of my life.
Yeah, that's really nice. Yeah, all good that ends. What ends good.
Yes, exactly.
Okay, thank you for sharing that. One thing, one thing that you'd change about how industry develops engineers?
I think I would like them to teach them. Yes, they teach them coding and everything, but they don't teach them to ask questions, how to get a vision. I would like them to create engineers with, or teach them how to be better at asking questions, or it's okay to ask questions, get a vision out of what you're doing. Don't What I've seen is like engineers are like, and it was always has been, and would, I think right now also it has been, engineers are like more code equal to more value. That's not the case. So if we can get engineers where they think from the wider perspective, that would make everybody's life a lot easier. It usually takes an year to teach them that thing. So if universities focus on that thing to make them think wider, understand the why, or ask them to understand the why, that would be awesome.
Okay, next question. Um, what are your some of your books that also impacted you as an engineer?
I think for me, uh, the books. I think the big. So I'm not a big fan of books, but because I read articles a lot. But I think the book that actually made me interested in the books was the autobiography of Steve Jobs. Uh, that so again, when Steve Jobs died, it was a huge thing, and we all know the success of Steve Jobs, but understanding the struggles behind it, like it was a refreshing. Not I would say it gave me a different perspective that is success is not about one day thing. Yes, we have heard it, we have always heard it, but connecting that with that book was different. And then it was like about things to do, and then I started following two concepts of Japanese, which is ikigai and sharizen, which is and both are like one thing is for the diet and everything, which is like ikigai is for about diet, and shaizen
Yeah,
is more about
Kaizen,
kaizen is more about
co-
continuous
continuous
improvement.
improvement.
And I
Yeah.
think that's the whole. That's one concept. And then again, I've been to businesses also, and so there was like rich dad, poor dad, stay hungry, stay foolish. I mean, I think stay hungry, stay foolish. Obviously, it's an amazing book again. It tells you, and again, all these, if you see, are related to continuous improvement. I mean, you have to be improving yourself continuously. If you are stagnant, you're as good as dead. That's the whole concept I have.
Yeah, yeah, that's really cool. Yeah, thank you so much for answering this quick fire round. Uh, we are now wrapping it up. So, if you'd like to share some of your projects that you currently are working on, and some exciting initiative that you are working on.
So we're working on, I mean, at Tariftel, we're working on an amazing product. I think it's more sort of for the businesses, not where we're working on the classifications, getting the sort of when there are people who import different goods from different countries, they have to pay duty rates and declare some documents to the customs. That's where we are working on right now, making them. And I mean, it's amazing. It's a very day to day life thing, but how complex it is to classify a product. It's very tough. It's not easy. So it's not that t-shirts are defined as t-shirts. They could be defined as anything depending upon different criteria. So it's for a normal person or non classification expert person, it's very difficult to do it. And that's the whole area that we are coming into. We with the years of classification expertise that our team has, we are building up now a product which would be very simply very simplified product where any any non classification expert like me or anybody can go just by looking at the product and answering some few things and get the right tariff code and right duties that they need to pay for it and save. Honestly, I mean, you it seems very small industry, but people save millions and millions, or pay or overpay or get fines of millions uh, just because they haven't classified it correctly. So
Wow.
that's the industry where we are into right now. That's the product that we are building. We have launched, like, we just done the release to launch last week, I think. Yeah, that was the launch party I was talking to you about earlier. And it's been going well, and it's been picking up things, and we are in the good space right now.
Yeah, that's really cool. And how people can follow you?
So I am always available on LinkedIn. The best way to contact me is on LinkedIn. Uh, Send me a message if you want. If engineers want to have chat, send me a message. I'm always happy to have a chat. As you can see, I'm a pretty talkative
Yeah.
person. So anybody who wants to have contact me, just send me a message. I mean, if you just send me a friend request, I might not accept it. But if you send me a message that this is why I want to connect with you, I would expect it, and then we can have a chat around it. That's how it is.
Yeah, and I will share a link to your profile in the description of this podcast. I would like you, Sumit, to thank you once again for accepting. It was a very great pleasure to talk to you and to listen to your story. And I am sure that for our audience, it will make a great impact on how to view the tech engineering industry and tech engineering, software engineering job, uh, not from the lens of a coding, but from the lens of problem solving. So I think that will make a difference for so many people. Thank you so much for sharing, and thank you so much for taking your time to join us.
Thank you again. Thank you, Christian, for inviting me and letting me speak out my mind. I mean, I hope it will help our people, and if they want to, get more clarity, talk to me more, again, they can contact me, like I said. But thanks again.
Exactly.
It was a very, very nice discussion. Thank you.
Thank you so much.